Hello, I'm calling this Board of Health meeting to order today, August 18th at 4 p.m. We are still allowing post-pandemic waivers to allow remote entry. All members of the Board of Health are here present. Peter Boyd, Joyce Brewer, myself, Dave Rhodes, Code Enforcement Officer Mark Blaisdell, as Administrative Assistant Michelle DeRose. We have also in the room several talents that will go over their names. We will talk about them when we hear their cases in public hearing. Where I would first like to start for a moment of silence and memory. Brian Miller, who passed away in an unfortunate accident last Saturday.
You got a phone?
Thank you. Thank you. I would like a motion to.
No, I don't.
And that's him.
Can you mute that individual? Somebody needs to be muted. If you're not speaking, please.
Because they're already starting.
Rita, I think it's Rita Sampa.
They'll be here in about 2 minutes.
I'm here for my wife, but my wife is here also. I'm her husband.
Can you mute, please? There, okay, thank you. I would like a motion to move the issue of the Adams Fire District supplying water to Greylock Glen up to the next order of business. May I have a motion, please?
So
Second?
Second.
This will be short, and so I felt in to respect John Barrett's time that we deal with it now because it's a small informational thing. Officer Blaisdell reminded me about the waiver. I did mention that the meeting is held partly, and there was an announcement that the meeting is being recorded. And I appreciate you emphasizing that. I think Greg Fournier may also be recording the meeting. So this meeting is being recorded. So discussion, just a short informational. How do you vote B to move the?
Oh, yes.
yes.
Yes, and I also say yes. So unanimously, next order of business. I just wanted to note and thank you for appearing, Superintendent Barrett, that the process has begun for the our water department, the Adams Fire District, to begin considering supplying water to Greylock Glen. I would like to note that the Glen is outside the current fire district, so there will need to be several agreements and approvals and analyses made. And the first step was taken on the 9th, I believe. The fire district voted, agreed to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the town to connect a consecutive water system to the fire district's water system, and also to enlist their engineers, Stantec, to run a feasibility test to determine if there's sufficient capacity in the fire district water supply to add on the Glen. I would, if either of you have any further, that's all I wanted to say at this point. As things move along, I would love to have Superintendent Barrett come back with further information, but either you or Superintendent Barrett may say a few more words.
Yes, David. Thank you for having me. You explained it pretty good. That's essentially what it is. So as we will be looking to create a memorandum of understanding, which is required by Mass DEP for both parties to enter when you are moving forward with a consecutive water system. And the first thing that we are going to take to task with doing this is in 2020, we created a new master plan for the Adams Fire District distribution system. When we did that, we, kind of took note of a lot of pipes that are kind of undersized to today's standards. And with that, after seeing that, what we did was we created what was called a hydraulic model of the existing distribution system. And essentially what that does is Mass DEP likes to see 35 PSI at all times, and during a fire, ISO doesn't like, or DEP does not like to see a system put below 20 PSI. So what we do is now with this new hydraulic modeling analysis is we once we get the information from the town for the system and what they are going to be needing for demand, we will plug all that information into our hydraulic analysis and then make sure that the current distribution system can provide that without creating a detriment to the existing public water system. So that's pretty much where we're going to be at. And then once we see that that is the case, which I suspect is going to move along. It's only one building at this point. And then we will move forward with creating a memorandum of understanding, which essentially defines the aspects of the agreement between both parties to the DEP. And that's pretty much where we're at now. We just literally started on this. So that's really where we're at in the process right now.
Thank you very much, John. We appreciate all you do for us and your openness and willingness to keep us informed all along the way. We offer whatever assistance we can give you through this process. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Thank you for having me. You guys have a good night.
Okay, thanks. You too. So the next order of business, I believe, is 103 Friend Street. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion to open public
Friend
hearing.
Street.
Motion to open public hearing 103 Friend Street.
Second.
Second.
I'll make a few comments after we open it and then and see if Officer Blaisdell has anything to add. And then I would like to hear from Mr. Donis. So Pete? Yes. Joyce?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. So unanimous open. Mr. Donis, it does grieve me to see you here again. As noted in the orders, there are multiple violations over the years since 2005, liens placed on your house and so forth. Currently, overgrowth and debris impeding entrance, exit, and emergency access. House number is not visible. The front porch is in disrepair, filled with debris. between the front and south porch, there are many items which provide arborage or can provide arborage for vermin. The north side, I think that's the driveway side.
Yeah.
There's more stuff, overgrowth. I think you had berry bushes there. And north side, there were hay bale, also on the north side, hay bales and a vehicle. When I drove by, I did not see it, but I could be.
It's been removed weeks ago.
Okay. And in the back, much more stuff and overgrowth. And in the past, there was debris, overgrowth, there were complaints, and we issued orders. In fact, it got to a point because we were remiss at removing things. We issued a fine of $50 a day, and it still took you more than a few weeks to clean things out. And so that the fine actually built up to quite a high level. My understanding is our code enforcement, Tom Romaniak, officer at the time, actually settled for $200.
It was 400.
And so, I mean, at the time, say, you're a good guy, lost your way, gave you benefit of the doubt. I don't think what we did then was unjustified. However, now, and thanks for your letter. I do appreciate what you have done and responding to us. The debris and overgrowth is making your house unsafe for habitation, as well as impeding potential emergency responses. So that's this, I cannot in good conscience just kind of say, yeah, let's, just go fix things. And, we need a serious mitigation plan. I would like at the end of this hearing that we devise a mitigation plan that will satisfy not any of us, but the issues that are making the place unsafe for you and your wife.
So just to add to that, code enforcement, the other two board members who are unfamiliar with the case, code enforcement began approximately 2005, and they're having code enforcement orders by Scott Casella as well as Tom Romaniak. There have been complaints made to the court that the court was issued, and there have been clean liens performed. And for anyone who's not familiar with what a clean lien is, this is where the town retains a vendor to clean the property, and then we invoice those costs to the responsible parties. If parties don't reimburse the town, then a lien is placed on the property. So those aspects have occurred within the order. You see that I also include pretty common language that the order can be escalated to a condemnation of the property, as well as for another alternative within code enforcement is to pursue receivership. This is where a complaint would be made to the court, and if the court was satisfied with the elements, they would appoint a third party to manage the property, make repairs, collect rents, pay bills, things of that nature. That's all I have.
And you sent a letter, and as you indicated, so Stosh, I did see trees were cleaned up.
That's what I did myself, actually.
And
He hasn't been down yet.
so a lot of the down trees, and so Stosh has taken the Land Rover.
He just called me back this afternoon. I hadn't heard from him for several days. He just left a quick message. He said, call me after supper tonight. I'll give you a date when we can be in, take the tree out.
And okay, so this is an overgrown tree that.
Well, it didn't fall. It settled gently down on the house. Woke me up at like 5:30 a.m. late March, early April. I thought I was hearing snow, ice sliding off our metal roof. And I knew we didn't have any accumulation of snow, we weren't predicted for anything, and there wasn't anything on the roof. Woke me up, what was that? So I opened the bedroom window, and there was the tree. It just came over and leaned down on the house and got blown around in the wind, the gusty winds going back and forth. And there were 3 trunks coming off the main trunk, and they were all growing towards the house, leaning towards the house.
So this was a natural event, but
Yeah.
there are also the unnatural events
Mhm.
of all the debris that has been
Yeah.
accumulated. And is the house number from now?
It is.
It was-
Improvements or-
Yeah. It was visible before if you were right in front of the entry. You could see it from right in front of the entryway at the sidewalk. Stuff leading up to the house, but there were overgrown branches. I cleared them all out. That's where you see all those branches out in front. So they can see it up and down almost the full length of the front of the property now.
I would actually like to make a motion to suspend the orders pending substantial improvement between now and our next meeting, will probably be mid-September. And I would like to actually have a fair list, and ask our other board members and Blaisdell. So let me have a motion that we to ask Mr. Donis to mitigate the problems with this house, not tomorrow, but in a staged fashion over perhaps the next 2 months, with the most egregious problems addressed by next month.
Over 2 months, so it's going to be 1 month review.
1 month review, and then basically I'm thinking maybe the debris in the back can wait, but I would like to see the debris on the 2 sides of the house removed, and as well as at least a scheduled contractor for repairing the doors.
I already repaired it, sir. There was just some wood missing between the joints of the boards, some slivers and chunks of wood out the end of the porch when I come to the edge. I've already put in wood filler, wood putty in those cracks already. That's what the disrepair actually was. Some missing slivers of wood between the boards.
Right, so repairs by code have to be in a craftsman manner.
Yes,
So applying wood filler is that a craftsman like repair?
this is what I'm thinking. I think we need to see an
All
assessment
right.
from a carpenter, what needs to be done to bring the porch up to code. And then you have scheduled that carpenter to undertake the repairs.
I had a carpenter look at it, and he was saying he could just replace the boards that come out to the front of the porch. You know, they're perfectly sound, hard, dry boards. Just that someone probably chopped ice on the edge of the porch before we bought the house and broke off some wood between the joints of the tongue and groove joining boards. But we can replace those boards entirely.
So may I have, so basically, my motion would be, I would ask for a motion that we see Mr. Donis next month, and he will either have the porch repaired in a workmanlike fashion with carpenter, see the bill, see what was actually done, and the debris moved from both the north and the south sides of the house so that it's not visible on the street.
As well as the east side of the house, which is the front.
Oh, the front, okay, so that's the porch, yeah,
Right, so it would actually be the north and the east side because you have conditions on the south side.
okay. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, the side porch on the south side is completely clear.
Oh, okay, the south, that's the one toward
The
Chester,
little
right?
porch on the left side, the house rotation from the street. And Paul et al. Came in from Pittsfield.
Good, okay, so we have 2 sides plus the porch to be done by next month, and then we will revisit. So may I have that a motion to that?
Mark, when was the last time you were out there?
This afternoon,
Okay. And you've seen these improvements?
yes.
Okay. So move.
Any further discussion? Mr. Donis.
I told Mark this afternoon when he was there, I said, no one's gonna believe me saying it now, but my wife and I had serious discussion. This is gonna be the year. I'm gonna let go of things, try not to hold on to old antique stuff and clear things out. And then in May, early May, I got locked down with sciatic nerve on my left side. So I wasn't really doing much of anything anywhere, hardly anyways, but then I have been out there and like I said, I cleared trees from the side of the driveway, and when the haul and all guys were there, I did carry some few small light items.
If I may interrupt, I think we just need to, thank you for your agreement. And so, any further discussion? Steve, what do you say?
Yes.
Yes.
Dave, so unanimously, we have modified Mark's order to delay when the deadline is for part of the work, and then for the remaining work by our following meeting, probably in October. So thank you, Mr. Donis.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you for consideration.
So do I have a motion to end this public hearing on 103 Front Street?
Motion to close public hearing on 103 Friends Street.
Second.
Discussion. Pete,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Dave, yes. So unanimously, we close. Thank you, Mr. Donis. And
Thank you
we
again.
look forward to seeing you again. Next, if we get more work done than what we agreed to,
Mhm.
it would make us even happier.
All right. That's what
Thank you.
we're looking forward to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next order on the agenda is 172 Howland Ave. Do we have all parties present? Okay, we have the Hans, Gloria, and James. And then we have the Christine Peltier.
No, it'll be Alexis.
Alexis.
Oh, Alexis, okay. I see, it's behind Pete's head. So do I have a motion to open the hearing on 172?
Motion to open 172 add public hearing.
Do we have any discussion here? I think I will just open it and then ask Officer Blaisdell to outline the issues. Pete?
Yes.
Dave, yes. Hearing is now open. Officer Blaisdell, could you briefly let us know what needs to happen here?
Right, so I sent you the correction order. The primary complaint was that about a leaky roof on the porch, which then caused damage to the ceiling. And then there were some interior violations that needed to be corrected. The owner, this is 2 units side by side. The owner lives in the adjacent unit. He was very responsive to making the corrections. Of course, there's going to be a delay in repairing the roof because of materials and contractors availability. So I will let him speak to any challenges that he has experienced with. Yeah.
Okay. And then we will hear from Alexis after we hear from Mr.
I knew about the leaky roof. She told me. Her boyfriend come over with her the day before Mr. Blaisdell come down. And I come back to her and went out. And right away, right in my face like this, we got issues. I said, okay, where are they? And the tenant showed me a picture on the phone with a quarter of the ceiling fell down on the porch. I said, okay. Use the back door until I can get this cleaned up. You know, to get it straightened out. My son come right down, we put a top up on the roof to cover the whole roof. I was over there within 10 minutes later, had the whole, whatever fell down, all cleaned up, bagged, in the garbage. The whole porch was cleaned off, nice, swept off and everything. The next day, Mr. Blaisdell comes down, and that's, gives me all this stuff for code violations. With the roof, I got fixed. It took me a while to get a roofer to come down. Took me a few weeks to get a roofer to come down, but nobody wanted to come down and look at it. Everybody was too busy, because they're all backed up. But I got that fixed on the 5th. The leaky roof for this month. Well, I got a carpenter. Now, there's a couple issues here. The front porch where the ceiling was damaged, and I had to take that down. And I myself had to do it myself and put it up, new one. I got that done on the 16th. Then there's the front railing that comes down off the front porch deck. It was loose. I fixed that. In the bedroom, for the bathroom, there's a fan, open exhaust fan. Now you tell me, you show me any exhaust fan that doesn't make a noise and turn it on. It's loud.
You need to clean it every now and
You
again.
got it, I mean, I got the same, that fan's been up there for 25 years, 28 years. And there's a tile that's got a slope, little bulge in it.
It's just from.
And it's just some moisture getting up there, and that's been up there for 28 years. Never moved, never cracked, never broke. So if I definitely got to change it, I will, but I don't think that's a code violation. That should be against me, those two things.
My lawyer said it
And,
wasn't.
In the middle bedroom up there, there's cracks in the ceiling. They weren't wide cracks, they were very cracks about that wide. You show me any 100-year-old house that doesn't have cracks in the ceiling, in the plaster ceiling. So I modeled all that, I got that all cleaned up, I got that done. To me, that go either way as a violation. In the kitchen, there's a fluorescent light she had, a 4-tube fluorescent light. According to Mr. Blazer, it was blinking, right? Okay. We took that down, put a new tub because it would cost me $80 for two balances gone. So we took that light right out, put a panel up there, and put a nice round kitchen light up there. I got that fixed, all right? Now, the other one in the kitchen is a faucet sink that it was written up against me as a code violation. Now, Mr. Blazel come down and I called and looked at this. If he had gone over and checked this when she complained about this, when he come down that day, he would have got a face full of water. Because this thing here that goes in there, in order for that to come off, that goes in there, sits in like that, in order for this to break, you gotta snap it off. The
Exactly.
water's not gonna pump this. I talked to a plumber, I talked to people, that doesn't come off with the water pressure. That was literally snapped off. And it gets written up against me as a code violation.
My son.
I replaced it,
Okay,
but I should be reimbursed for this, but I'll never see it. Okay,
Could I speak?
well, I've gotta get rid of these other things. The missing tile in the pantry has been put up. GIF outlets in there that you wanted.
GFCI,
GFI. I didn't know you needed one in there, because the last time the house was inspected from the Board of Health was 2012. And it was Scott Seller, I think it was in the Board of Health at the time. And he went through the whole house, and he never mentioned anything about that outlet had to be changed, so I didn't know it.
yeah. Was the washer there at the time?
Yes,
But it wasn't behind the washer.
huh?
It wasn't behind.
No, the washers go in like this against the wall. And the outlet was over here on the sidewall by the window. But it could. It had with a hookup point for the hoses,
Right.
for the washer hoses hookup.
So it was near the water, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but nobody had ever told me before. I mean, it was no big deal to change that. That was nothing. But
Fencing, Scott, that requirement may not have been in effect. That's what you asked about. As you mentioned, that was the last pre-tenancy inspection.
I mean, the leaky roof,
Others since.
the leaky roof and the porch, I know that was a major problem. The loose railing, the exhaust fan, I don't think that's an issue. They all make noise. Mine makes noise. My daughter in Chester had one, that makes noise. You turn it on, you that's your noise. And the panel that fits on there, that's not a problem. It never comes down.
Does it rattle?
Pardon me?
Does the fan rattle or just sound loud?
It's just loud.
It's loud, mine's loud, and it's got, we had to clean ours once in a while, been there 20 years, you guys vacuum it out a little bit, it's okay,
So,
I mean, I don't think that was an issue. The fluorescent light, yeah, we changed that. The faucet, I shouldn't have been written up against this, if I say,
but you replaced it.
Oh, yeah, we did.
if Mr. Later, when we turned it on, I guarantee you would have had a face full of water that day, because this comes right out.
But the fact is, someone broke it purposely.
So before we turn the floor over to Alexis, at least she will want to speak, right?
So she did, but she has lost it. But if I just comment about the citations, the exhaust fan, I say here to be examined and repaired or replaced if necessary.
It was examined.
So just for clarification is how the citation reads,
Yes,
right? And as far as the kitchen faucet, it was not working, so states, so he is now made.
right. So the open items then are examination of the exhaust fan by a professional, not just the landlord.
Oh, the exhaust, our electrician had examined it. He said everything was intact. And that's a noise that they all make, makes it in his own house.
I got all the dates and everything was checked and checked. I got all the dates right here from the paper I had to do.
So then the other two items are the leaky roof and the ceiling damage therefrom, right?
Right, so you'll notice on the original correction order, the this before he had made a request for a hearing. The reinspection date is scheduled for tomorrow at 10 a.m.
This is the receipt for the roof that it cost $2,500 and I had to borrow to get that roof fixed. Granted, I had loaned them. It's one of the fixed income. I haven't got all that kind of money. But the roof has been fixed. I did the inside myself. I just got done with that the other day. But the major question is too, she was there 5 months living there. She couldn't tell me the fluorescent light was blinking. She couldn't tell me the faucet didn't work, that she had to do addition up in the bathtub. I don't buy that.
That's not true.
Well,
She couldn't tell me the front railing was loose and her and the boy could sit out there.
If
Well,
she had
it's
told
just-
us, we would have fixed it immediately. My son is a plumber.
Now, at this point, it looks like you are poised for a reinspection, well positioned for a reinspection. And Officer Blaisdell will come by tomorrow morning and ascertain whether,
Then I need a certificate of occupancy, right?
What
You
you
told me.
We didn't.
The last one I had was in 2012.
and
And that's how long the last tenant lived there for the last 9 years. And I didn't know you had to get one every time a tenant moved in.
yeah, well, that's what's on our website. We need it,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
And it was the Section 8 guy that did the thing.
And just for clarification, the housing authority inspectors inspect for the house code, the state housing code, they use HUD standards.
Yeah,
So what they may say is acceptable may not be acceptable under the housing code and vice versa.
Well,
But
You
you're.
don't know that, you know.
no, I didn't know that either. Now, could I ask you a question?
But here now, you have a requirement for a inspection. And so this tenant who had moved out was actually a licensed mother. Then the unit was vacant for a short period of time, and then by agreement, they allowed Alexis to move in. This reinspection that occurs tomorrow, if everything's in compliance, it does not take place of a pre-tenancy inspection. It's on compliance for this particular correction.
and then they will have to apply for a tenancy.
After Alexis vacates and prior to any meeting got
Got it. So Alexis is on her way out.
not necessarily.
Oh, okay, I think,
So do I need a certificate of occupancy?
Certificate of
That is not in play at this time.
so I
Alright,
think,
so you're gonna come down and do re-inspection tomorrow,
Yes.
okay, now do I gotta pay for that?
so what I am hearing is that we basically uphold your order. Says we don't need to modify your order because you will go, they claim that they have taken care of all the violations and you look at it tomorrow. And so, may I have a motion
That would be
to uphold Officer Blaisdell's correction order for 172 Allen Ave.
You want to
I did.
say? Go ahead.
I just had a question of how many cars can be parked in your yard unregistered with no sticker? Okay, now I believe she brought that car there without asking me. And then in retaliation, she called the police. It probably has no bearing on this.
I noticed the roof and the ceiling on the porch definitely hasn't been fixed.
Well,
I mean, that wasn't, it just happened.
If I may interrupt you, I think this business we need to conduct. And it sounds like what you're talking about is other issues between you and the tenant.
Well, the car's gone.
So anyhow, may I have a motion to uphold Officer Blaisdell's order regarding correction of violations at 172 Allen Ave?
So
A second.
Second.
Do you have any discussion? Pete, what say you?
yes,
Joyce?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. So Mark's orders are upheld. He will come. See, thank you for your appearance and thank you for you have done.
thank you for your detailed explanation. I
I
appreciate it.
mean, I just wish
It helps.
the tenant would, when these things happen, the tenant will let you know. And not find out 5 months later from the board of health people. I mean, that,
Yeah, she doesn't, I can't
That
fix
makes
it
it
if
hard.
you don't tell me.
you know,
Yeah, I know. So, okay, so motion to close the public hearing on 172 Allen Ave.
Motion to close 172 Holiday public hearing.
Second.
Second.
all right, so you'll be there at 10 tomorrow.
Yes.
I gotta take my.
No discussion. Pete, what say you?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Dave, yes, unanimously, 172 Allen Ave closed.
Why do I let you in now?
I need
Without her permission.
I need a motion
Anticipate.
to
Pardon me?
open public hearing on 76B Allen Ave. This is a condemnation.
So you know how hard it was for me to get in there.
Excuse me, we are continuing.
Oh, she knows it.
All right, thank you very much.
Motion to open 76B Allen Ave.
Motion to open public hearing for 76B Helen Ave.
I don't have any discussion here. I think we'll let Officer Blaisdell take the lead. Once we open the public hearing.
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
David, yes, it's open. The floor is yours, Officer Blaisdell.
Okay, so on July 22nd, I was notified by the occupant that her bathroom ceiling had collapsed right above the shower and tub. I responded. I'm going to comment also that the occupant does have 3 minor children, the oldest being 7 years old, the youngest being 7 months old. So when I examined the area in question, there was a board, and above this damaged ceiling area was what appeared to be an old tin.
There's no mold.
An old tin roof that
I got the speaker.
that appeared to have been rotting.
There's no mold, there's no rot.
Yeah.
They keep unmuting.
Okay, so the area, the tin roof, appeared to have been rotting, and there appeared to be paint, and paint from that area would typically contain lead. And there was also a black substance visible, both on the underside of the newer ceiling, as well as in that area where the damage had occurred. And that black substance, I suspect, could be mold. So I also had noticed that the rear stair railing had been missing some balusters. And so the gaps are more than 3.5 inches as currently required. The back porch was leaning substantially, more so than when I was last on the property. And so I have asked the owners to retain an architect or engineer to assess that and to provide a report, as they would be required to anyway for their 5-year inspection, being multi-family. And also the very front door, which is a common area, I could not open. I could only open just maybe an inch or so, which turned out to be a couch that was placed in front of it. Okay, so as I stated that I had been to this property before.
Okay.
And I had previously issued a correction order, and an updated correction order based on the inspection. And then we had our experiences with COVID. The occupant had retained an attorney, and for those open matters, I had asked that attorney to pursue the court complaint for receivership for this particular property. So throughout COVID, this particular attorney has vanished from the case, still on record as representing the occupant. So in October, there were still non-compliances with the open correction order. Code allows for health officials to escalate an order to a condemnation if the conditions did impact or affect health and safety of the occupants or the public. So I gave them that notice, and within that notice, I did identify those other legal remedies to include receivership, but also for the occupant to repair and deduct those costs from the rent. Okay, so you have all of that. The occupants and the landlord on each occasion were given the updated order, they were given a notice of compliant and the non-compliant updated order. And so with the condemnation, as I stated, we're allowed to escalate to a condemnation any non-compliances, but here we have those additional matters that affect health and safety. And I emphasize there are minor children. So the absence of the balusters, it does endanger the safety of the children as well as adult occupants who may not pay attention. The meaning of the porch, and go back and emphasize that damage above the shower prevents them from taking a shower. You have that material still in the tub. I suspect that material to be mold and or lead paint. And as the board knows, lead paint in that form can impact the development of a child, of a young child. And so here in this case, we have 3 young children who could potentially be impacted, as well as they and the adult occupants being impacted by mold that exists. The landlord's immediate remediation was to hand a dispenser device as well as straight bleach to the affected area, which in itself, as the board knows, is not proper safety usage of that chemical. So I would ask the board, after hearing the landlord, and I say the landlord because it does consist of 2 owners, Rita, who is Michael, the one on the white t-shirt, that's his wife. And then the gentleman to his left is our right is Michael also. He resides in one of those 4 units. And then Mr. Chempa in the white t-shirt, he's like the property manager. Okay. So the landlord is actually 3 parties to this correction order. So I would ask after you hear them that you do in fact uphold the correction order. And I will also candidly inform the board that I have already filed a complaint housing court with our town council because the occupant has not been provided any alternative housing by the landlord. And also I was faced with hostility for the inspection of the other 2 units. Just so you know that that's on the right. So I would turn it over to Jenkins.
Okay, Mr. Chempa, what?
Yes, I guess I'd like to start with just all the outside minor repairs. As far as the balusters, the stairs going up to the 2nd story, there were a couple cracked stairs. I went ahead and replaced every single stair on the whole staircase. The balusters were removed by a tenant because he needed a little bit more width to bring some household furniture through. That was done a few days before the inspector showed up. It just happened to be poor timing. They've all been replaced. As far as the front door, there was a couch in the hallway that a tenant had placed there. That's been removed. The front door has a new door handle put on it. It's also been painted. The whole door has been repainted to make it aesthetically pleasing. The front porch has been power washed and stained and had water treatment put on it. I've been going around the whole building, painting around all the window trims, and trying to scrape and paint any peeling paint. The yard has been picked up and I try to maintain it and keep it as cleaned and picked up as possible as far as I can. You know, we have tenants that obviously have children that keep it a little bit messy, but that's, that happens. As far as general upkeep, the inspector would know that 90% of the repairs have all been completed, but we had a reinspection that he did not show up for. If he had, he would be able to tell the town board at this time that pretty much all of the repairs have been completed. The downstairs apartment that had a ceiling issue in the kitchen, that ceiling has been completely repaired. All repairs have been completed on the entire building that the inspector has asked to be repaired, except for the bathroom ceiling in the upstairs apartment. Because we have a roofer coming this weekend. He will repair the roof, and then I will repair the bathroom ceiling in that apartment. I didn't want to do that until the roof was repaired in case there was any other water that would have just re-damaged the roof, the ceiling in the bathroom. I did a complete and thorough inspection in the bathroom. There absolutely is no mold. And as far as the bleach being put in there, that was done by the tenant, not by the landlord. I absolutely am positive there's no bleach. And as far, all that has to be done in there is a 2 foot wide by 3 foot long piece of sheetrock has to be put back in place, which will be done after the roof is fixed. I just don't want to do it until then. There are absolutely no other living hazards in that apartment. The apartment is in absolutely livable condition. As I said, all the stairs were replaced by brand new stairs going up to the second story. All balusters were replaced. The building is in the process of a complete paint job around all windows and any other peeling paint. There's been an extensive amount of work done above and beyond what the inspector has asked to be done. Again, he would know this if he would have shown up for his inspection, that he failed to. And I would just like to ask, what I would like to have done is somewhat of a continuance put in place here for the inspector to come and re-inspect so that he could see the amount of work that has been done. So then he could stand in front of this panel, and instead of citing us for damages, he could then express the amount of work that has actually been done, which he would know if he had shown up for the inspection. Thank you.
Yes, I know what you're saying, but we still have the open issue of the bathroom ceiling, and is that a health hazard?
In my opinion, absolutely not.
Excuse me. I'm asking Officer Blaisdell if that is a violation that needs to be corrected before allowing someone to live in the apartment.
So, Mr. Chairman has failed to identify the credentials that he carries. I do have those credentials. I have, within the citation, required that approved mold testing and air quality testing, as well as paint inspection.
That is ridiculous.
Prior to any work medicine.
Right.
Because, as I stated, there were 3 young children there. 2 children who qualified for me the paid termination license. I fear that if I were to perform such inspection that was asked of me by the tenant's attorney more than a year ago, whenever I set foot on this property, I'm faced with hostility. So as I told them the last time, I'm going to go back to the police. So yes, it wasn't this inspection date time. But I'm not going to go back to the police. I shouldn't have to put my safety in check.
As far as the bathroom ceiling, whatever is above that ceiling is above a sheetrock ceiling. All that has to be done is a piece of sheetrock put back up. What's in that ceiling is not accessible, never will be viewed, touched, smelled, tasted, anything once a piece of sheetrock is put back up.
We still need the lead paint determination.
We have a lead paint certificate, and what he's talking about is paint that may or may not be peeling above a sheetrock ceiling. Once the sheetrock is put back up, that paint is not accessible, not viewable, not touchable. It's above a sheetrock ceiling. So it's not something that ever falls into place in any lead inspection. It is in a sealed area. It's a sealed ceiling. The sheetrock has to be put back up. That's all. It's sealed.
Separate issue. You said you have a lead certificate.
Yes, we do.
Did he provide you with a lead certificate?
So he said that he did provide me with a lead certificate. I did check each of the files for this property. There are 2 certificates. There are 4 units. 2 certificates on file, both dated, one dated 1995, the other dated 1998.
Doesn't matter what year.
1995 is for 76 Howland, first floor, which is A. We're talking about And the other one from 1998 is for 78 Howland Avenue, first floor, which is the AU. But I'd like
We can furnish him with this certificates of lead completion, the certificates of lead, non-lead paint in the building. We can supply him with that. I just real quickly, as far as the slant on the porch and the back, the driveway, that was your town building inspector actually signed off on that. That was built that way with us. We completely replaced that back porch. We had a building permit. The building inspector of the town of Adams signed off on that. We built it with a slight slant for water runoff. It's a brand new porch. Just so you know about that real quick.
If you can't control yourself, I'm gonna have to end this hearing. Please, we're just
Okay.
to be civil, we're just.
Can I, excuse me,
Mr. Blaisdell finished, he said that the A units, 76, 78, have lead certificates. There were not lead certificates for the.
excuse me, that's wrong. I went down to his office and gave him the certificate. I sat there and talked to him.
Please let Mr. Blaisdell finish.
I'm out of here.
You were saying.
Let me know how this goes.
Right. So each of these certificates do not remain valid indefinitely. As a matter of fact, there's language on the bottom which states that these surfaces must remain intact. Okay.
So then we sheetrock the ceiling. That's all we have to sheetrock a ceiling.
Okay. So these surfaces must remain intact or covered. Okay.
We have to sheetrock the ceiling.
So it's no longer covered. Okay. There's damage. There is whatever residuals that have fallen into the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe one that if a mold test was done by a certified professional, it will come back positive. If it doesn't, all the better for them. An air quality test, if it comes back negative, all better for them.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with lead paint. With a lead paint inspection performed, if it comes back negative or comes back, because they provide a comprehensive report. It's like 20 pages. They list all surfaces. If I do a lead paint determination inspection, all I'm required to do is test 5 surfaces. So I get 5 positive, and then a 50-page correction order is issued to them to perform a abatement.
Right.
Okay. So it is in their best interest to have the lead paint inspection rather than have me perform the lead paint determination inspection. Okay, so the criteria is less for me. The lead paint inspector is going to provide a comprehensive report of what surfaces do and do not contain lead paint, and what degree of remediation needs to take place. And then as far as the porch meeting, the 4th item on the condemnation order, I asked the board to affirm that this porch be assessed by an architect or engineer. They have to do this every 5 years anyway, well beyond that. So it would be in the better interest to have that. And I'm not asking for the correction. I'm asking for the report.
Exactly.
The engineer architect's report who will decide, who will be the authority to decide, not an inspector, not a building inspector who did a compliance inspection of a construction that occurred many years ago.
So it looks like we have 3 issues. One is the lead paint and up to date to take care of the flaking areas. So what I'm basically understanding is if you put non-lead paint over lead paint and the non-lead paint flakes, it does not show up positive, but if it flakes deeper than that, you can basically cover up lead paint and or with wallpaper, for instance, but if the paint's underneath there, then when the wallpaper peels off. So I understand. So that's why we have the expiration date. We need an up-to-date lead paint. Totally behind you on that. we have the porch, which does need a professional assessment and report and a plan to correct any deficiencies there, which appears not to be here at this time. And then, of course, we have the ceiling in the bathroom, which in my mind actually, if this is the only bathroom in the unit, so that it seems to me that with that, it's unsafe for habitation. Okay, so those are the three things we need to see. My question is different from that, is what happens to the tenant between now and remediating the tenant now and remediating those deficiencies? Do we have any?
So typically, once this reaches the court,
Mhm.
I'm 99% confident the court will order the chambers to provide these occupants with an alternative temporary housing. So we don't have that authority.
We do not have that, but
unfortunately, that is my complaint to the court.
Right. And so then we are left with upholding as written, in which case things will play out. You will contact APD in order to re-inspect if that seems to be, or you will go to court, whichever. And so we're basically leaving it up to you to the next appropriate step, given that your correction orders have not been followed.
Essentially, yes, with the additional comment that the chambers have a right to appeal to the District Court, Housing Court, or Superior Court. Your decision if you so decide to uphold this order.
Right, but so if they don't like our decision, they have to go to court to challenge our decision.
Yes, sir.
Is it that all understood?
Excuse me, can I say something?
Not right now.
I have a question for
Not
them.
right
They claim that they have a different lead certificate. Do we know what date?
He has it.
You said that, Michael, you said that you have another one. What date was that?
I have a copy. I can give it to him. I'm not sure what the date is. I mean, because it's in my file, but he has it because I gave it to him. I hand carried it to his office. But the other thing I'd like to point out, I have a CSL license, okay? So I'm not stupid in the situations with the building. And a lot of the things that he's saying is not true. Now, the day he started his job 2 years ago, we had a problem with a tenant. I've been trying to get her evicted since then. And every 5-6 months, he shows up because they call him to continue the thing. And supposedly you can't evict a tenant when they have a violation with the code enforcement officer. I haven't received rent in 2 years. Okay, this is a messy situation. And he's sitting there and he's nitpicking on a lot of things. There's not the problem that he's stating, okay? It's not an issue.
I think off the track here, number one, he's nitpicking. Number two, I think Dr. Floyd asked you about lead certificate. And I think Officer Blaisdell was cut off when he was trying to answer about the lead certificate. So I will just go back and say lead certificate is one part, the other two parts, the professional assessment of the porch and the repair, complete repair of the bathroom along with air testing. And so Those are not nits. Those are
Well,
stairs.
no, what you're saying is that your building inspector doesn't know what he's talking about when he re-inspected the building after we did the work on the porch to rebuild it. Is that what you're saying? Your building inspector in town didn't know what he was doing. That's what it amounts to, because he says he doesn't like the pitch on the porch.
That is out of our ballpark because he's not part of the Board of Health. I follow our health agent, our code inspector, our code enforcement officer. And so I am, you have a right to appeal.
Well, I'm going to, because I've already talked to my lawyer and he said, fine, let you guys do what you're going to do, because when we come back with the evidence that proves he was wrong, then we can sue the town and you will reimburse us for all those inconveniences that we're going through.
How about him calling a tenant a nigger?
So I have a motion.
I don't care.
May I have a motion
The tenant did.
to uphold Officer Blaisdell orders on 76 Allen Avenue?
Yes.
And to authorize him to proceed with hearing reinspection with Adams Police Department, whatever he feels is necessary to carry out this correction order.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, Pete or Joyce? Pete?
Just, do you know when the reinspection will be, Mark?
I will coordinate that with the occupant.
Okay. So like the next couple of weeks, you think, or?
I
would it be?
I would say in the next week, she is here if anybody would like to ask her a question.
No, I don't have any questions.
So Pete?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Dave says yes, so we unanimously uphold Officer Blaisdell on the remaining items of his correction order. May I have a motion to close 76B?
Motion to close public hearing 76B. How would you have?
A second.
Second.
The discussion, Pete?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Dave, yes, so this hearing is now closed. We have one more hearing left. Sorry this is taking so long, but here you go. Well, this is Pleasant Street, and we
Motion to open public hearing of 25C Pleasant Street.
again, once we open, let's go just encapsulate the case and we move forward from there. Pete?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Dave, yes. So it's now open. Officer Blaisdell, please update us on the issues at 25 Pleasant Street.
Okay, so Unit C has been the subject of a correction order for several months. The landlord has been working diligently to correct the repairs or correct the violations. There are, however, some items that remain and that are in dispute by the landlord. Property owner here is Mr. Falczynski. So the first case or first instance is the living room windows, which are originally double hung casement windows, and to make the repair for the bottom portion that doesn't stay open when you open the window, he has secured the window with screws and L-bracket. My position is that he cannot screw shut an openable window because those components are classified as a point of rescue escape or emergency escape and rescue opening, this being the second story, which anything above the first floor fall into that category. So the second area is there's a heating vent in the ceiling, and originally the ceiling had been stained by leaks, roof leaks. So he had cured that, but this one particular area is still soft to the touch, where I can take a pen and touching it would indent. The other tiles doing that same method are solid. So he doesn't believe that he should have to replace those. As this board knows that moisture breathe. So my thoughts are that this particular area is effectively damaged and should be properly cured. In other words, just replace the tile. And then there's a bigger issue in the kitchen where sections of the kitchen floor are spongy. So his original repair was to retile the floor, but not cure the condition underneath, which is a subfloor that is damaged in some form. So this is the kitchen area. Water had infiltrated the tiles before, causing the subfloor to be spongy. And though I know it's a tremendous inconvenience and costly measure, that the proper repair, of course, by code, has to be done in a craftsman-like manner.
Right.
My position is that the flooring needs to be removed, the subflooring examined, and if it needs to be repaired, do so, and then put down the floor. So I'll turn it to Mr.
So may I just follow up on the kitchen floor? Is it your sense that there was a sink leak or whatever that is?
At some point, this occupant has been there for a number of
9
years. Yeah.
At least years.
So it is possible that considerable spillage had occurred.
Spillage, it just,
Water.
yeah.
Water. There's no dishwasher there. Just over the years.
Right.
Each year.
Okay.
Okay, as far as I think the simplest thing is if someone could actually come over to the site and examine yourself. Okay, I've got this written up. I had a professional painter paint that ceiling, and I've got his opinion. My opinion is there's no need to do anything. And then as far as that window, when I got my last email from Mark, it stated that because I put that screw in the window, that was an emergency, I had to take it out. That was Friday morning. I tried to get into the apartment Friday morning at 9 o'clock, nobody would answer the doors. I texted Mark to see if he could convince them. I didn't hear back from Mark Friday or Saturday or Sunday or Monday, so I called him. I texted him again, and he says, wait till Wednesday after the meeting. So is it an emergency or is it not an emergency? And so like I said, so I think if possible, then somebody could come on site.
So I'm trying to put this estimate together with, so there are ceiling tiles, but you had it repaired and spackled with paint. I mean, I don't think of, so there are no tiles there now?
No.
Ceiling is entirely tiles.
It's all 1 foot by 1 foot tiles.
But how do you repair and spackle on paint? Am I missing something? I usually don't.
Well, like I said, I think probably we can go on site. It's going to be the easiest way to do it.
I usually don't paint tiles. Am I missing something?
It's an acceptable repair.
Okay. Oh. Oh,
It's not the traditional repair, but it is
are
acceptable.
these acoustic tiles or?
Almost like a drop ceiling, but this is different material. So 1 by 1 squares.
Yeah,
There's no metal,
Yeah.
metal
no, I
running.
know what you mean. I mean, they're more like acoustic tiles, they're soft. Oh,
Exactly.
okay, so, okay, I get it. So that's point 2 here, and you're saying that the window has now.
Well, I've got screws in it, and it's emergency to take them out. I've waited quite a few days to, I haven't got permission to go in yet.
So here's the thing about that. So right now he has the window secured.
Just the bottom sash.
Right, so removing the screws, then you have this other hazardous situation where you open the window and it falls.
Yes.
So it doesn't stay open. So openable windows have to be able to be opened and closed easily.
Right.
So,
And
so it's
what I'm trying to say, instead of a double hung window, it's a single hung window now. The top sash comes down, you've got your air coming in, and you've got your screen.
Yeah, it doesn't sound to be totally up to code in my, so are these, they're sash weighted?
No, these are
spring.
vinyl
They're spring, okay. So it sounds like that you would need to replace either the springs window itself in order to make it friction.
Well,
up and down.
once again, if you can come on site, I'll show you how it works.
I mean, that seems to be a reasonable, how many windows are like this?
1.
And is this the only?
There's 2 windows in that living room. If they took their air conditioner and moved it over to that window, there'd be no issues.
So I get it. So
excuse me, sir, but it would be an issue once the air conditioning season is over and then they use that.
But is there any chance of someone could I make an appointment so somebody can come and?
But I mean, there are 3 issues here. I mean, it's,
Right.
And then we have the kitchen subflooring, which to me actually sounds.
Well, if you come on site, you'll see for yourself, and then our disagreement will be done.
And just my experience is we had a leak under our shower, and it brought it out, the subflooring. We were unaware of it until one day in my garage, I noticed that the ceiling caved in. And so that was a pretty serious consequence of having rock beneath the floor that we could not see.
If somebody could just come on site and squash this whole thing.
I'm not a professional. I'm only here to, I mean, he's the professional in terms of code, knowledge of code.
Well, it's his interpretation too.
It's more than interpretation. But so no, I mean, I would love to come and look, but what can I say? Yeah, floor spongy, but we need a professional to look and give us a.
Okay, so you gave me the paperwork from the professional painter.
That's not the floor.
So the ceiling is okay then?
I'm thinking it may be, I think Austin Place down has to make that judgment.
You'll make the final decision. I'm saying that this one little section actually affects 2 tiles. Needs to be replaced because it is soft, whereas the other tiles in the ceiling are solid when you do that test.
Right.
So that soft that soft area which affects 2 tiles is soft. It should be
Right. And so the ceiling does need more work. So,
It'd be so easy for somebody to just come over and look. That's
what his job is, that's
Right,
right.
there's no dispute, he's not disputing that those areas are soft.
Yeah.
And everything else is solid. So I asked you to take that into consideration. I asked you to take the description of the windows and the other side of the coin with regard to the same window into consideration, and that you consider that a floor being spongy is in fact an indication of a corrupted subfloor.
Right.
So and he's not disputing it.
I mean, if you were living there.
the floor's been in for over 20 years, it's fine.
If you were living there, I don't think you would have a problem, but you're running into someone. Is this correct?
Well, yeah, if I painted the ceiling, it's done.
That's why we are here to protect. Well, to protect tenants from faulty living.
Mr. Bladesdell's been through plenty of my apartments, and I have never argued with him until this. So this is why I would just like to have someone come on site and take a look.
Well, I
will say it is a factual statement.
Yes.
And he's pretty consistent about having pre-tenancy inspections performed. And I'd say he's on the upper echelon about making the corrections required during or as a result of those pre-tenancy inspections. This is just one of those instances where we're not going to see eye to eye. And it's not, it wasn't him making the request for a hearing as a result of a correction order issue. It was actually me presenting the suggestion that I update the conditions at the apartment and schedule the hearing. And this is another one of those dicey situations where there's a tenant lawyer involved.
And these people haven't paid me since January.
The tenant. That again, I mean, I think there is a precedent, but in this case, the tenant should be taking care of the work and giving you bills one option.
And here you're referring to the repair and deduct.
Right.
Okay. So twice. These people are so, I guess the word would be mean. Two of my contractors walked out and won't go back in there.
That's undisputed.
Yeah, understandable, yes. So they will not allow the repairs to be done?
Those people, my contractors will not work for people that are that miserable and they just.
So what recourse? If they don't pay rent and don't allow repairs to be made?
So Mr. Trzynski also has an attorney. So he could file a complaint with their non-compliance with any correction order, because along with the correction order, you probably see this in prior orders, is the occupant is required to allow access under 810 of the code. There have been occasions when I was in Pittsfield where we would have these challenging occupants and I would bring the court complaint and the court would order them to one, allow in, and then once allowing the contractor in, not interfere with, obstruct, or impede. So he does have that option. I have that option.
Do we have authority here, or would that be you ordering?
Well, it's part of the original order. So if you were to affirm the order, or you have the authority to modify the order, you can say, okay, Mr. Trzynski, you don't have to do X, Y, Z. but you do have to do such and such, affirm the original order to include the occupant allowing access and not to obstruct, interfere, or impede.
I interrupted you before when you were trying to say something.
Yeah, I just, is this the living room window? I guess I'm not clear on the window issue. Is this a first floor?
Second.
Second floor. So, all right, is this reasonable for somebody to use as an escape route from the second floor?
Well, there's two windows in that.
Right. So what is your plan for the window? Because Mark's telling me just taking the screws out is not fixing the violation. So what is?
I fixed it once, they broke it again. So in between his inspection and then his next inspection was fixed and it was broken again. So I can fix it, but he pretty much has to sit there in the living room and watch me fix it, watch it work, and then.
But the tenant is not allowing you.
Well, the tenant is now with us. So let's wait.
Okay.
The tenant.
Thank you.
So moving forward, do we need to hear from the tenant, or should we just reaffirm the order requiring that the tenant allow the work to be done?
Tenant has the right to speak if they want to say something.
What's that?
The tenant has the right to speak if public hearing.
Well,
So if they want to say something.
Yeah,
I imagine she's got the same Zoom.
yeah, so, okay.
May I speak?
Yes.
Okay, so with his workers, they were very unprofessional. They showed up an hour late. They pulled my toilet and then completely left without telling me they were leaving for 5 hours and started doing work on other apartments. I then went down to try to speak to them, which I couldn't communicate with them because they didn't speak English. So I had to tell them, we need this fixed, and they weren't speaking to us. So I finally said, just give us the tiles, we'll do it ourselves then. So it was the most unprofessional people I've ever dealt with in my life. So I've never denied anybody access. I've always made it available for anybody to come in this apartment, with including taking time off from work.
But this was a single incident.
Correct.
So it's not like a pattern of you not letting work.
There was another contractor too.
Please tell me who.
What's his name? That field.
Through the chair, not to her.
Tell me, yeah. Who was the other contractor?
Russ Holland.
Yeah, which I'm actually, his stepson is actually a relative to my stepmother, which I get along with them perfectly fine. I never denied him access. He came in the apartment, no problem.
That's your word, her word against his.
You're welcome
Okay.
to call him.
So that's two people.
So I would ask that you affirm the order as written, with the caveat that the occupant would allow access as required by code, to include no obstructions.
Right.
Hindrances.
So is the ceiling a done deal now?
I think
That would be.
Officer Blaze does it. We'll have to look at it. I mean, I would.
To go on site would be the simplest thing. She'd let you in, you could go on site, take a look, and that's it.
That's
Well,
not.
then they have to reconvene in another month, and
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to uphold Officer Blaisdell's order with a requirement that Mr. Krasinski and the Briggses make sure that scheduling of work is followed through, and that you monitor, that Mrs. Krasinski monitors the progress of the work, that we check in with you at the start and at the end. So there's no leaving of the site in the middle.
They're putting ceramic tile down.
I know,
You can't just throw the toilet on the ceramic tile.
I know, but I just want to make sure that you are monitoring the progress.
The other thing I'd like to get some rent money so I could have money to put into the kitchen floor.
It's not our decision.
This, yeah, we do not have jurisdiction over that. And so,
Everybody wants anything, but nobody wants to pay any money.
so. I've asked for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have any further discussion?
I have a question for you, sir. How long does it take to fix that window? That fix that repair that you did before?
Yes, about 20 minutes.
Okay. And could that be something that when Mark re-inspects, it could happen at that same time? And then Ms. Briggs, you would allow him to come in and do that window repair?
I've always allowed them in. Yep.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that, yeah. I just wanted to
Any other?
clarify that, yes.
Pete, what say you?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Yes, so unanimously, we are holding Mark Blaisdell's orders and requesting that the tenant Mr. Kaczynski work together to make sure work is scheduled, timely fashion, and monitored.
A simple site visit and how it would take.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to end?
Motion to end public hearing for 25C Plainview Street.
Second?
Second.
Discussion, Pete?
Yeah.
Joyce?
Yes.
Dave, yes, thank you, Ms. Briggs, for coming on. It was a help hearing your side of the story. Thank you. And good luck as moving forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
If I may just, Mrs. Pelletier is still here. So if you could just dismiss her, or if I could just remain for the remainder of the
Yeah,
meeting.
Ms. Peltier, are you still here? Are you listening? Or, I think.
Yeah, am I able to go?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, because I'm trying to remember which.
I was with Chip Bus. Yeah, mine was against the Chimpas, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so as you know, we upheld that order. So the Champas are required to take care of business. So if you have any questions, you are free to call the health office. And,
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Sure enough. Bye now.
Bye.
So, okay. Moving on to approval of minutes. I've had a chance to review all three, but I think we're only obligated to approve June 9. How are you two with the other two? June 30, July 7.
Motion to approve minutes of Board of Health meeting June 9th.
In fact, I just have two corrections. So you want a second? Jim Willis's name was misspelled. It's Wiluz. And in the Five Temple, it looked like there were some missing words. I think the parties if you want to say the parties were not present, and therefore, Mark asked to carry that on in, and then they disappeared. Yeah, with those changes, I would, what do you say, Joyce?
Yes.
Yeah, Pete?
Yeah.
And I say yes, so
Yes.
June 9 is approved unanimously. June 30, same spelling of Willis. That was the only thing I thought. Anything from you two?
No, I have no change.
Motion to approve.
The motion to approve Board of Health minutes, June 30th meeting.
No discussion. Pete?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Dave, yes. And July 7, you misspelled Crystal's name.
So the C, no, without the
WOJCIK. That was,
Wait, how are you here for?
that was the only thing I caught.
It was 5 pages long.
I had to work hard to learn how to spell her name. So motion to approve with that correction.
Yep, motion to approve Board of Health Wednesday, July 7th meeting.
And
Second.
Discussion, and then we go to Pete.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Dave. Yes. Okay. 3. Oh, thank you, Michelle.
Good job, Michelle. Thank you.
Yes.
That's not too bad.
Moving, skipping over code enforcement, I think he's done a lot of work.
Nothing more than?
Nothing more. So Discover Books, that was a crazy, after we joint met, and I think Linda brought it to you and you brought it to us, and then you suggested we do the, the upcoming, that joint with the dog poop, that would be a good opportunity. Enthusiasm was limited at our meeting, and we agreed to consider this at a later time with some, after we investigated further. I had not heard from anyone else, but on my part, I called Linda Cernick, and then I called and spoke with her, and she said, call Gary Parento, who's the our regional marketing director of Discover Books. And then, and what he said to me is that, our main concerns were diversion of books from libraries and other, and what Mark Parento said was that they work with them. And so they would give a key to the library so that the library could harvest books that they wanted. Linda also said the reason she brought it to us is that the Lanesboro Library actually had books that they no longer wanted, and they felt it to be irresponsible just to trash them. And so she saw Discover Books as a way that, those Encyclopedia Britannicas could be turned into home insulation. And then I further called, I didn't call, but I emailed back and forth with Holly Jaco, and she said she was totally down with the idea. I presented this actually after the SMI meeting to Jay and John Duvall, and they both seemed somewhat surprised, to be generous, that I was sort of talking about this, because they said that transfer station was Board of Selectmen and DPW, which Jay is now head of. I said, well, I was just like following up and letting you know, but they seem to think that this is a DPW or selectmen issue. So I wrote them an email and said, yes, okay, I hear you. I'm going to ask Linda Cernick. And so I don't know if she has written them yet. I don't think so. I did ask Linda Cernick. She's dealing with some other stuff now and probably haven't had a chance. But I just want to say here publicly that I tried to push the Discovery books as far as I could, and it's now hopefully in the Board of Selectmen's court. And you have.
Yeah. So with this was also a way for the town to reduce its tonnage for recycled papers, because you can't recycle all types of books, though people do. So this is a way to remove those from recycling tonnage and repurpose those.
And the waste tonnage too, because people may just throw it in solid waste.
Exactly, and same thing, well, not same, identically the same thing as the clothesbin, which is removing those textiles from waste. So that's why she brought it to me, and that's why I brought it to you.
Right.
For those aspects, yes, Board of Selectmen and Town Administrator, DPW is under control of DPW. When you introduce the recycling aspect of it and then the waste aspect of it, then yes, we do get involved. 310 CMR's enforcement, that falls with us.
Right.
There's no one else who does that enforcement. Us,
right,
Health and its agent. So with the clothesbin, there is going to be a textile ban coming forth whenever DEP modifies that regulation. So we would fall within, and here it's a very unique situation because you do have Board of Health regulation synchronized with town bylaw.
Right.
And that's not usually how it works with other municipalities that don't have a town government.
Right.
Okay. So it's a unique situation where one may feel that we're stepping on toes. That we're not.
We're trying to work together, and it's you know, and as Linda and I said, it's where the Board of Health is responsible for the waste and recycling streams, and so that's basically what the Discover would fit into that category, and so that's basically so. I hope Linda can push this and that it moves forward. If it doesn't, I will begin to advocate, because it did seem, like I said, Holly Keiko was totally happy with this, that they would get a key. We know when they're going to pick up, and they come and they pull out what they want. And the library can, the annual deals that they don't sell 5 years, they can dump them in the box. And so it's a win-win, I think. So anyway, that's all I want to say on that. I did have in the old business, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but the dog prohibition, any update on when the signs are coming in?
They are up.
They are, oh, I was looking around.
They're up.
Yes.
Oh.
That happened within a week. Well,
Oh my goodness. Well, I
was
was not looking at the right spot. But not to digress, but both my sons were totally pumped about the workout gym at Russell Field. they discovered it. They went down, and they were here for a couple of weeks. They went down day after day, and so that worked out. Russell Field.
You talking about the playground area?
Yeah, there is the playground. It's the same playground, but off to the side, there's a workout gym. It's awesome. You know, it's got pull-up stuff and.
That was built into the plans. I haven't been down there since they did everything.
Yeah.
When did that happen? I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, well, it's there. They were really psyched. So. So anyhow, then going on to new business, we had the air quality sensors, and I was waiting for you and Eamon to set something up. Is it Eamon or Eamon? Eamon.
That was something that he was going to.
Should I nudge him?
And I asked for the two of you to be invited. That has not happened. I don't know why. I will certainly check on that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and let me nudge him too, because it would be, I haven't met him yet. And so I would be eager to, because the deadline is October 1, we have time. And then
before we move on, are the two of you familiar with that? Did we send you the documentation on that? And do you have any questions on that? Because we wanted to also work out logistics as far as what town buildings and or private buildings. So we're going to work on that logistics as well. And obviously, if it incorporated a private building, it would have to be communication and sign-offs from the property owners.
Are the CSX trains go through town?
CSX?
CSX, are the tracks used for anything more than the tourist train?
Just, you're saying, yeah, you're nodding your head, yes.
Yes, CSX uses them.
Yeah, so there is potential for dust pickup from the trains coming, so that, yeah, that would be another area, so another place to monitor. So, okay, good. So we got plenty to talk about there. The community health programs vaccination van is coming to the Susan B. Anthony Festival. One of their vans broke down, and so instead of coming from 11 to 3, they can only come from 1 to 3. That does seem to be a good time slot.
David, you told us 3 to 6.
3 to 6?
You told us 3 to 6 p.m.
I better correct that quickly.
Yes, because we just ordered signs this morning for that.
Kate was going to, what did she?
And Greg, I tried to tell you.
Yeah, there was, yeah, because she was away on vacation, and I tried, this is what happens.
Email from 11 to 3. I don't know if there's something different now.
Yeah, so
you emailed Monday evening at 5:39 p.m. saying that Kate emailed to say they will be coming from 3 to 6, anticipating a higher traffic window. So we moved along with that information.
Okay, so start to change. I'll find out. Okay. Oh, my bad. We would like to do 3 to 6 p.m. I think this will be a busier time. So this is what Kate said to me. So I did say it right to you.
Okay.
And she also said she would send me signs. So you have signs that say 3 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember what is happening at that time, but it's after the, the kiddie games, and before, Whiskey Road Show, I think. So, so we
So is this on our website, this on the Board of Health website?
I was hoping that Kate would send me, so you made posters?
Yes.
Can you email me a copy of it and we'll put it on our website?
Yes.
And
then therefore it'll have the correct time.
right.
Okay.
And
because right now this is on our website with saying 11 to 3.
Is it?
Well, with the
it's on the agenda,
on the
yeah.
agenda, which
Right.
is very, but if somebody sees it, that, I guess just my concern is, can we correct that somehow?
Always around. So I'd like to set up a table, pass out flyers. And I would be happy to go to the festival early in the day, like 11-ish. And spend several hours there. And I was hoping that I could get some volunteers for other times later. I mean, I think after 6, we don't need to have passing out, but it would be good to have someone passing out flyers behind our Board of Health sign for free vaccinations.
I'll be there. So what time do you need me?
I'm tired that day.
You're tired.
I'm doing that for work.
Oh my gosh, talk about not even just a day job, a weekend job.
A weekend and nights and everything.
So, well, let me coordinate with you, Pete, because I'd like to go earlier, like maybe 1 to 11, to
Christine, that's right.
If I may, the festival doesn't start till 1.
It doesn't start until
The
1.
road is shut down at noon. And so vendors are going to be starting to set up at noon. There will be some children's activities starting around noon to kind of keep some people distracted while vendors are setting up. But the festivities really don't start until 1 o'clock. So I wouldn't schedule yourself to be there any earlier than 12:30.
12:30, yeah, yes. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
So I don't know where I got the 11. There was at one point, I got an email that was said like 11 to,
Your wife,
Oh.
your wife got an
no,
email about something
it's
earlier.
it's on the calendar. It's on the calendar. It says
Maybe you might be
11 a.m. to 10 p.m. So that's where I got the 11. So we need to get our stuff together here. All right. So enough of that.
Do I have that sign or do you?
I have that sign, yes.
Okay.
And I'll bring a table and I will figure a way before Saturday to attach it in a way that you don't have to go get duct tape and everything else. So yeah,
And do you have canopy? Do you need?
no, it's gonna be nice on Saturday.
There's a chance of a thunderstorm mid-afternoon, but
Yeah.
we're putting in a lot of good work with Mother Nature.
Good, yes.
I think it was at 50% less.
Yeah, so it's,
I'll give you outside too.
The vaccination
It's only
van is gonna be
Wednesday.
down here.
yeah.
So the mobile vaccination van is gonna be between the crosswalk and the traffic light, in that area, so that they can pull in and then be able to pull out, because it'll be during the festival and the road will already be closed.
That's the McKinley Square side.
No,
The other,
this
yeah,
side.
this side, okay.
Yep, so if they're coming up from the south, they'll be able
Yeah.
to, they'll just need to notify somebody before they make a left. Cause it's gonna be barricaded, so they won't be able to make that left unless we move some sawhorses. And then we will place them in that space where no one else will be.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. That is awesome. Yeah, colleagues, I forget whether they reminder what, but it said that the van came and seven vaccinations. They got 7 people and they were happy about that. And what Kate Grace said to me is that even if we get 1, I said, yeah, I mean, you're out there kind of advertising. And so, this is, I hope we get some takers. I definitely hope we get some takers because it's scary. If I can move on to upcoming, school reopening plans. Yeah, we do need to talk about that. I sent around the Health Association's 4-page write-up. Mark looped in Jay Green, and I contacted John Duvall, and I think he was basically positive about the idea of us trying to coordinate with the school principals. He had a question about whether the schools were going to mandate masks, and I have a suggestion myself, what we put out as a strong health advisory. I see your eyes lighting up, Mark. What do you think? Were you on Dan Doyle's call last week?
I was, and were you on Tuesday's
Yes.
PPH call?
Oh, no, I was not.
Okay, so DESE had their Zoom with all school principals. They have a recording of that won't be posted to the website until tomorrow morning. Which I was hoping that they would have it today. And I was going to disseminate to you. But Sandra, I just want to compliment Sandra Martin from Berkshire Planning for putting this together. It's 4 pages down from 12.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think she did an excellent job. And whatever the board decides, it would need to be disseminated to the districts that we have here.
Right. So I would be in favor of either just emailing, and there is a flow chart, like whoever knows about a case, who you contact. And so basically you might be in the loop. We might not necessarily be in the loop. I know if somebody calls the health office, you would get the message. And if and so you're in contact with the school nurses too, my understanding. And so I just want to make sure that conduit is there, because we tend here not to keep track anymore.
But let's not omit Michelle as well, because during prior COVID, you had Pam, who was in that loop.
Right.
She also has access to 179, so she may actually get the message before me.
Right. So they will. Speaking of, I saw somewhere 121 as the extension. And not
121. 121.
I forget where I saw it in an email or something. Yeah, so anyhow, you are 179.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, she and I are both 179.
Oh, so you're not 106 anymore.
That says directive extension. 106 is Mark's direct extension, but 179 is the department extension.
Which we both have access to.
Yeah. Okay, good. So is it okay if I just write an email to school principals and the document does have your name and contact information on it.
Right, just copy it. Both.
And right. And also I'll send a copy to John and assume he said he's on the Cape. Should I send you a copy?
If you would like, both John and Jay are out this week, neither are available. Can I ask a question if the schools have been contacted about this discussion? Because I spoke with Superintendent Aaron Dean today. He said he was unaware that this conversation was taking place, and he has a policy committee this evening. And I spoke with representatives from BART who start school on Monday, and they've already released their guidance to families.
Well, this was why I'm getting burned by open meeting, and so that's why I was waiting until tonight to talk about it. And so, so that sounds like sending something there as soon as possible, be all for.
Yeah, because I think he's meeting at this moment with his committee to make decisions.
Because Dan Doyle's suggestion was that we issue a strong advisory for masking in schools for 30 days and reassess. Because it's much easier to relax restrictions than it is to apply them later. And this was the main point that I did not want to just sort of willy-nilly go out and say without discussion here.
Yep. The school committee will take it up next week, is what Aaron told us. But his policy committee is meeting this evening to review it, and they'll take it to the full committee on Monday. And Bart told me that they start school on Monday.
So I will send out an urgent email to Joe, Raji, and Mark.
Yeah, I don't
Mark.
have Joe's information.
Yeah, I know, I said Joe and Aaron, and send them this, and say, you know, be in touch with fuller details once, you know, BOS meets. I assume you guys will talk about it. And so who's school committee head?
The chair of the school committee is Mike Mucci.
Mike.
Correct, and
Yeah.
it's not on the school committee.
Yeah.
Aaron Dean is the superintendent.
Yeah.
That's the Aaron I was speaking with.
Yeah, I know that, Aaron, yeah. So, yeah, so, and I think I can find Mike's, you have Mike's
I
email
have
address?
my email.
You do, okay, so I'll get that one week. Okay, so I'll include Mike on that also. Do we need a vote for this, or does that all sound good?
That's good, yeah, communication.
I think for issuing the strong advisory for masking for 30 days with a reassessment. After that would be in order though. You may have a motion that the Board of Health issue a strong advisory that schools have a universal masking policy to last 30 days, at which point we will reassess.
This is 30 days from the start of school or from when they receive that?
For the first 30 days
Of school.
of school.
Okay.
So, but each are not on.
They're not on the same
timeline.
schedule, right?
So,
Yeah. And,
so they're restricted.
you know, as Dan Doyle pointed out, many of the southern schools have already started. And so we will have an indication of what's working, what's not working, probably in the near future. So, okay, I will do that. The Community Health Initiative has an improvement plan webinar, September 11th. It's a Friday morning, I think. I got an email 8/17. Did either of you get that email? I will pass that on.
Is that the meeting at Zion Church in Pittsfield?
Zion Church, yes.
Yeah, I got that through work, so I'm already registered.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I got an email that from the Cannabis Control Commission that the regs are now available in Spanish, and it made me wonder if we need to have a sort of a cannabis tab on our website. Let's talk about that next meeting. And Mark said, hey, Blue Clinic in town. So it looks like Deb is arranging for a flu clinic.
Yes.
Time has not been, but it would be in October.
Tentatively for October 21st, with the alternate date of September the 14th, it doesn't make any sense, but anyway, she is working on it.
And is that available to, I mean, I'm just a regular citizen when it comes to town hall. And so can I show up and get a flu shot here?
It would be town employees,
Town employees, and
you would qualify.
I would qualify, okay. Yeah, so that would go out on the old town email. All right. Fair enough. So that's all I have. Anybody else have for the good of the order or anything else?
Yeah.
Next meeting, September 15th.
I think you skipped over public comment. I think I saw a comment show up on the thing that said you.
I skipped over it.
Yeah.
You, Mr. Public, you want to say anything?
No.
Okay.
But I think I saw someone has commented on Zoom that they wanted to comment on something.
That might have been one of the appellants, so I think there wasn't anything.
No, that was me. This is Catherine Foster, and I did want to speak a little bit.
I apologize. I did not see your name up on the screen. And yes, so thank you, Mr. Fournier, Ms. Foster. I open the floor to public comment.
Okay, I wanted to go back to some of the discussions that we had back in February. I still don't see February 10th minutes listed with the other minutes. I don't know if that means you didn't put them up or if it means that they haven't been done yet. But I'd like to see the February 10th minutes done. And a couple other things that we talked about back then is with the agenda, you know, putting like other question mark. It's not helpful to anybody. The only thing helpful it does is not good. It just encourages you to add additional things that aren't on the agenda.
Sometimes things come up, but we do not make decisions based on something that just comes up. And some of it is just informational. Attorney St. John said it's fine. I get an email about Cannabis Control Commission. So yeah, I am free to spread that information to the rest of the board. We're not going to make any, and I said, you know, I'm thinking about a web tab, but we're not going to do that now. That'll be on the agenda next time. So yeah, it's when I'm looking, I do see February 17th, February 10th. I do see Board of Health, 2 Board of Health minutes.
The website's not the official place to put the minutes. Kathy, you can get those from the town clerk. Just contact them. That's the official place where the minutes are posted. I think we mentioned this.
So are there minutes?
So just contact that office and they'll get you the minutes.
And there are minutes for February 10th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Rhodes, Attorney St. John didn't say that it was okay. If you read from the minutes from February 17th, the last paragraph on page 1, it says Attorney St. John joined the discussion stating that the agenda should contain items that would be discussed within 48 hours of posting the scheduled meeting. He further noted that Ms. Foster has some reasonable points to make in regard to this matter. Attorney St. John stated that, well, it's talking about Mr. Blaisdell in particular, which really wasn't about him. Had additional items to discuss at the meeting outside of the 48 hours prior to the scheduled meeting, it should not be discussed, but rather move to a future meeting. Attorney St. John wanted the board members to know that if an emergency issue came before them, the open meeting law would excuse the posting requirements due to these circumstances. So in other words, if you have an emergency, that can always be discussed, but to have other and question mark really serves no purpose on an official agenda.
You're allowed to impart informational items without deliberation. It is not a problem. And he specifically said that to me. At first he said it when I learned of open meeting law webinar from the Attorney General's office. I logged on and I took their training, and I was duly illuminated. And at the next board meeting, without having it on the agenda, I mentioned to the other board members about the availability of this, and Attorney St. John said, yes, that's just the kind of thing that one can do for the good of the order.
Right, but if you look at tonight's agenda, under old business, it says other question mark. There shouldn't be any old business that isn't either defined ahead of time or comes up as an emergency.
Oh, okay. I meant to get rid of that. I didn't. My bad. Thank you.
Okay, I guess that satisfies me.
Okay, good. We'll clean things up. Bye now. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, we did say September 15th, right?
Yeah, 4 o'clock, same.
4 o'clock.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
And no discussion. Pete?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Dave, yes. So at the ungodly hour of 6:11 p.m. here on August 18th, I am calling this Board of Health meeting a close.